All right, today we're jumping into something really deep. We're going to explore a profound idea from the Baha'i faith, the concept that God, the ultimate reality, is just fundamentally beyond what our human minds can ever truly grasp. It's a perspective that really makes you rethink what we mean by knowledge, truth, and even existence itself.
We're going to start with this really powerful quote from Baha'u'llah. It just sets the stage perfectly, you know? It starts from a place of deep humility, this recognition that our words, our thoughts, no matter how brilliant they are, eventually just run up against a wall.
And this leads us right to the central question we're digging into. What does it even mean for our search for meaning if the ultimate truth is a mystery we can never, ever fully solve? This is the challenge this perspective presents, and honestly, it shapes everything else we're about to talk about. So, let's dive right in. What do we actually mean by an unknowable essence? Okay, so this idea is way deeper than just saying God is mysterious. The teaching is that God's very nature exists on a completely different plane of reality from creation. And creation is, well, us, the universe, everything. So it's not that our minds are just a little too small, it's that we're simply not built with the right equipment to comprehend it. It's a difference in kind, not just in scale. I love this metaphor of the bird of the human heart. It just captures it so well, doesn't it? The bird is like our highest hope, our deepest spiritual desire, our most intense longing. But even that bird, flying as high as it possibly can, can't cross the gap into that heaven of majesty. The limitation is literally built into our DNA as created beings. So, if God's essence is truly unknowable, what does that mean for how we even talk about God? This is where we run into a really fundamental problem with language itself.
And this is the logical next question, right? I mean, all religions use words like all-wise, all-loving, all-powerful. How does this Baha'i teaching square that with the idea that God's essence is unknowable?
Well, the answer is this amazing flip-in logic. When we say God is the all-wise, the Baha'i writings suggest we're using a concept, wisdom, that is part of creation. Wisdom is a thing that exists in our world. So we're basically using a tool God made to try and measure God. The reality, from this viewpoint, isn't just that God is wise. It's that God is the actual source, where the very idea of wisdom comes from. And you see the same pattern when we call God the all-perceiving. Our ability to perceive, to see, to understand anything at all is considered a gift from the Creator. So again, we're using the created tool to describe its maker. The reality isn't that God perceives in the way we do, but that God is the creator of the very possibility of perception. This even applies to the most abstract ideas you can think of. When we say God is the incomparable one, we're using the concept of oneness or uniqueness. But the argument here is that the very idea of oneness is itself a creation. God is the author of that concept. So here's the bottom line. Everything we can possibly think, say, or imagine is, by definition, stuck inside the operating system of creation. Our language, our logic, our highest philosophical concepts, they're all products of this reality, and they simply can't step outside of it to describe the one who created it. Okay, this probably has you wondering, if we can't truly describe or understand God, then what in the world is the point of prayer, or praise, or worship? Well, as it turns out, this theology completely reframes the whole purpose of worship. In this view, the act of praise isn't really for God's benefit at all. It's for ours. It's a process. It starts with us offering praise, and that act opens us up to receive a kind of divine grace. That grace then allows us to ascend. But here's the twist. We're not ascending to an understanding of God. We're ascending to the knowledge of our own selves. So, to put it simply, worship becomes a tool for our own spiritual and personal development. It's an exercise designed to help us understand who we are, what our own potential is, rather than trying to define a reality that's completely beyond us. But if we can't know God directly, where are we supposed to look? Well, this final part of our explainer shifts our focus away from our own limitations and points us toward the absolute vastness of the universe itself. This imagery is just, wow. The entire universe, everything that has ever existed or will ever exist, is compared to just a single drop from a billowing ocean of endless mercy. It's a metaphor that just blows the doors off our sense of scale, and it's about grasping the divine not directly, but by looking at what it's made. And the source material describes this creation in some truly mind-bending terms. It's brought into existence from absolute nothingness. It's infinite, it's eternal, and get this, the process of creation isn't a one-time thing, like a big bang that happened and then was over. It's seen as a continuous, ongoing process with no start and no end. This brings that whole metaphor crashing back, doesn't it? If everything we see, all of this infinite, endless existence, is just one drop, what does that say about the ocean? The goal isn't to measure it, but just to be left in complete and total awe. And that's where we'll leave it. This perspective suggests that our inability to fully know God isn't a failure. It's just a fundamental truth of reality. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Does having an unsolvable mystery at the very heart of everything actually make the search for meaning more profound, not less? Thanks for joining us.